right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm your host, Derek Lane. Another edition of The Fast Lane, your podcast for success. Thanks again for joining me. I appreciate your listenership as always. Let's jump right into it. Hey, got a little bit of thinking about why people do some of the things they do. And I think clearly it comes down to choices. Now that may sound simplistic, but it could be a little bit more involved. We make choices. We make choices in our life, but it's not only just the choices, but it's the reaction that we have to the choices that we make, and the reaction that other people have, and our expectations of the reactions that people have. So why is it important? Well, it's important because when we consciously make a choice, we consciously have an outcome predicted, whether or not that comes to fruition or not, but we anticipate, we expect a certain outcome based on the certain choices that we make. Your choices is just that. It's your choice. It's what you've decided to do. So you can have reference points to your choices. You can understand that your choices are made by different intelligent levels. Maybe I should say different intellectual properties that you possess. The idea is to make the best choice, obviously. Now, some people doesn't do that, and some people give up on their choices, and some people deliberately make bad choices because they feel like they're at the end of their rope. They feel like, what the heck, it doesn't matter anymore, I'll just go ahead and make a dumb choice. That should never be you. That should never be what you strive to do. Always make the best choices. When you don't make good choices, and when you have a history of making bad choices, that doesn't mean you're relegated to continue to make those bad choices. That doesn't mean that's who you are. That doesn't mean that you have to live with bad choices all the time. You could choose to make better choices. So if you are the person that makes bad choices a lot, you need to stop and ask yourself, why is that? What is going on? Why am I making bad choices? Am I influenced by people that direct me toward bad choices? Is my mindset geared toward bad choices? And just the word itself, choice. You have an option. You have the ability to do something different. Now, as I've always told you, the biggest part of succeeding in your endeavors is to make sure that you're putting everything out as a plan, is to make sure that you're putting things on paper, pen and paper, by your own hand. So if you find yourself making bad choices all the time, then write it out. You'll never discover a more genius way to change things in your life other than simply writing things out, making things appear before you by your own hand. I know that sounds simplistic, and I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but trust me, if you don't take the time to write things out, to put it on paper by your own hand, then you're not serious. You have to do this. And when you make bad choices, you have to start to question yourself. Why do I do that? Is it my influence? Is it my peer influence? Is it my parental influence? Societal influence? Why is it that I'm making bad decisions? Am I influenced by social media? Am I influenced by Hollywood or something that stuck with me as a child that I just can't get rid of? Only you know those answers. And this is why successful people continue to be successful, because they make successful choices. They continue to draw upon their successful influences, the things that propelled them to their success in the first place. They keep going back to the well, and that's good. That's what you should do. That's what they need to do. And we don't begrudge people for doing that. We applaud them for doing that. And the people that make life choices, and especially the ones that turn around their life choices, the ones that had been making bad decisions and turn it around. And it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what situation you are, what sex, what geological area you're in. It doesn't matter, because as I've said before, there's always a starting point. The past is the past, future is future, now is now. You live in the now. And when you realize that you let go of what was in the past, all the bad choices that you made were in the past. And they may have put you in a situation, but you don't have to live in that. You don't have to be stuck in that situation, because you have choices, because you are in the now, and those choices can change. Your mindset can change, your mentality, your influences. Once you discover, again by pen and paper, writing it down, all of the bad choices and why you make bad choices, and be honest with yourself. That's all I'm asking you to do, is just be honest with yourself. You don't have to share it with anybody. And this is not going to be a test. This is for you. This is for you as a person, as a human being that wants to be better. Once you put down on pen and paper bad choices, the reasons you make bad choices, and the things you're going to do different, and the things that you feel like you can do different, and the steps, the action steps that you're going to take to make better decisions, and you progress. It doesn't matter. It could be great progression, could be slow progression, but progression is progression, and you'll take it. I take it whenever I get it. I mean, it's like boom. I start to see things come into my life, spiritual, relationship, monetarily, whatever it is. I'll take progression. So it's very important for you to track yourself, to track what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, and who you're doing it with. All of the things that you can measure. That's what I'm getting to. Understand everything that you do is measurable. So you measure everything that you do. You can measure your thoughts, your actions. I encourage you to do so. And then once you start to see it, and you start to see that slow progression or fast progression, you'll start to see things turn around in your own life. And you'll want to share that with people. You'll want to share that with people that trust in you, because they've seen the difference it's made in your life. Once you become a person that people want to be around and want to learn from, it's your responsibility at this point. It's your responsibility to be enlightened. In regards to choices, there is, I thought this was kind of neat. There's an old fable, if you will, about an Indian boy that says to his father, the chief, that there's a fight going on inside me. It's a fight between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow. He is regret and greed and arrogance and guilt. He is full of lies. Then he continues. The other wolf is good. He's full of joy, peace, hope, and serenity, humanity, and kindness. And the boy thought about this for a minute and asked his father, the chief, which wolf will win? And the reply from his father is, the one you feed. See, that's powerful in and of itself. It's the one you feed, your choices, the choices that you feed, the choices that you make, that you harbor in your mind, the choices that become a part of you day in and day out, your ingrained thought patterns that make these choices. So are you feeding the bad, or are you feeding the good? That's the question. Okay, so not a very long podcast tonight. I just wanted to touch on the the subject of making choices and how important it is for you and how important it is for all of us to make choices. It's impossible to make the best choice every single time. I get it. But the desire to make the best choice is what you're striving for. The desire to be the best version of you, the best version that you can imagine for yourself. Stop making excuses for yourself. Stop making excuses for your failures. It's in the past. It's gone. We don't care. We don't care about all of the crap that's going on in your life because you can turn it around. That's the beauty of it. You certainly owe it to yourself to lead a wonderful, beautiful life. You can't do that by harboring ill feelings and regret. You can't do that. Feel good about the direction you're going. Feel good that you are able to understand who you are and to make positive choices. I appreciate you listening to the website, going to the website or listening to the podcast. I appreciate you sharing and liking the podcast. I appreciate the feedback that I get from folks, and I get some feedback from folks around the world, which is awesome, and different locations around the world, and Brazil and Australia and what have you. It's awesome, and thank you guys. Thank you very much. Like and share as much as possible, and I truly hope that this message, albeit a little short, it's just that it's a positive message that you can turn your life around with the choices that you make. You're not doomed to continue on a bad pattern. You're not relegated to continue to make bad choices or even the occasional bad choice. Live in the now. Be happy with who you are. Learn to be happy with who you are and live in the now and make great choices. Pen and paper. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your listenership. And once again, Derek Lane, Fast Lane Podcast for Success.